Aristotle said, "Nothing is more challenging than the ability to study, debate, and think through a concept without immediately accepting or rejecting it. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it." And F. Scott Fitzgerald wrote, "The truest sign of intelligence is the ability to entertain two contradictory ideas simultaneously."
We find ourselves in the most amazing of times. We have technologies that enable us to communicate across the world instantaneously, medicines that boggle the mind, and scientists even proclaiming coming advancements where machine and human unite to benefit humanity. Whether we think these things are for good or not is unimportant, it seems. The future is beyond our control to a large degree. Progress is inevitable and for the greater good if we are to heed the words of the world organizations such as the World Economic Forum. But some of us are looking to the past. We are looking to ancient evidence that causes us to ask many questions. Questions that have the possibility to divide. Families, friends, work colleagues, and educators can all suddenly turn against a person who decides to question the shape of our home, our world. Why is this subject so taboo? Up until 500 years ago, it was commonly accepted that the Earth was the center of the universe. The sun and the moon revolved around us in the sky, and we lived on a stationary, flat Earth. Some of the oldest books in existence, the Torah, Bible, Vedas, and many ancient texts, even describe the Earth being flat and immovable. Nearly every culture and religion had its own mimicry of this belief to varying degrees. There is a Vedic map from the 1900s that illustrates a flat Earth with other Earths around it, which are hidden by ice walls. There are so many stories that are there to show us that questioning the globe theory is actually a valid thing to do. One that scientists should embrace, not ridicule. So why does this area of science have so much negative stigma attached to it? To question the heliocentric model, the theory that the sun is the center of the universe and all its relevant theories that help to back it up, can bring responses that range from complete ridicule to utter horror, as if you are akin to a Holocaust denier. No one wants to be ridiculed, and they definitely do not want to offend to the degree that this topic can bring. There is no reason for the scientific community to see the topic as ridiculous. Scientists are seriously trying to prove and/or disprove so many things, even the existence of the Creator, and strangely, no ridicule is seen there. So why the flat Earth? We don't know. Maybe they protest too much and maybe they are hiding something. We won't know until the flat Earth community can be taken seriously and intelligently. That is not too much to ask, is it? The globe has been flooding our consciousness since the invention of the silver screen and later the television. The globe Earth is seen on film logos, food advertising, and airlines, just to name a few. Science fiction novels, film, TV, and comics all continue to bombard us with planets that are immeasurably far from Earth, all globes, all hurling through space and time. We have been inundated with the globe since childhood. We are taught it as a fact, when they fail to tell us that it's still just a theory. As is gravity, relativity, wormholes, black holes, string theory, etc., etc. All these ideas have had to be theorized about to try to make sense of the globe and its relation to its environment, the universe. A psychologist will tell you that if someone repeats an idea or a phrase often enough, it becomes a belief that is very hard to remove from your psyche. This is part of the process of what is commonly called brainwashing. No one wants to admit they have been the victim of brainwashing, but unfortunately it's a very common effect used on the human mind. From advertising agencies to governments, schools, religious cults, and many more areas of society. The field of behavioral science is being used to make people change their ideas about so many things. We see changes in how society sees religion and medical procedures, such as abortions, gender realignment, to name a few very current cultural changes. 100 years ago, these things would never have even been heard of and would be seen as terrible. Is it a natural evolution of society, or does society have its mind changed from the top down? It doesn't seem so strange to consider that the heliocentric model was a programmed idea to change the role of humanity as a special creation on Earth to nothing more than meaningless results of evolution, from a random, meaningless explosion floating on a blue speck in an ever-expanding universe. There are many scientists that have spoken for or have had their theories used to create the heliocentric theory. From Isaac Newton, Johannes Kepler, and Albert Einstein, and promoted today by modern mainstream scientists like Neil deGrasse Tyson, Stephen Hawking, Bill Nye, etc. These theories are promoted by the mainstream science community as fact to keep the population on their spinning ball. The modern scientists' names are given almost rock star status, and they refuse to acknowledge that there is a debate to be had with the flat Earth community. The flat Earth community is portrayed by mainstream science as cult-like and ignorant, when in reality, the opposite is more than true. A typical flat Earth proponent will have been brought up to totally believe in the Disney-style globe just like everybody else. They usually have the ability to use critical thought and see new information as a reason to get excited about exploring the possibilities of holding a new idea in their minds. They hold the value of scientific reasoning as central to their ideas. They are good at researching and evaluating their research to the extent that, despite not being university graduates in astronomy or astrophysics, they can be seen as an expert in these fields as they have spent many years studying them. It's very hard to find someone who is brave enough to stand up and say, "The Earth is flat," who hasn't done hours and hours of research to back the statement up. Why is it so hard for others to let go of their belief system? Because, simply speaking, it is hard to let go of any old belief system, especially if the new one is as challenging as society has made the geocentric model look. Regardless of why society has made the model look so idiotic, they have. How do we get out of this bind and open our minds to the possibilities? Personally, I think it's easy. You give it a chance and simply listen to the ideas and choose whether it's for you or not. If we don't give another's ideas a chance, we could lose our freedom of thought, simply because we have been encouraged to think something was stupid. No one should be told what to think. It's always ours to choose. Well, you are in for a surprise. Flat Earth science, research, and experiments are based on logic and truth, not pseudoscience. Be prepared to have your mind blown.
Now, mainstream science teaches us that the horizon is the edge of a ball Earth as it curves away from us, because ships disappear bottom first when they sail over this edge. What's funny to me is that their argument of ships going over a ball Earth is just as silly as falling off the edge of a flat Earth. It is a very childish argument, especially in today's world where we can pull objects back into view with a telescope or zoom camera, not to mention the fact that if you ascend in altitude, you can clearly see that a ship or building is not over the curve of a ball. It was simply out of your view due to perspective and the angles of light propagation when you're at a lower elevation. From a higher vantage point, your eyes can clearly see that the water or land is completely flat. There's no curve or edge that boats are sailing over. Again, it is a silly assertion, yet it is one of the main pillars of the ball Earth theory. Boats or buildings being cut off by the horizon line over water, which many people falsely attribute to the object being over the edge of a ball Earth. Again, I would start by saying that it is easy to debunk this simply by increasing your altitude. If there were a massive drop in curvature obscuring the boat or building, this would be apparent from higher up. Our eyes are not that bad. We can clearly distinguish slopes and hills in the distance, and when you increase your altitude, you can clearly see that the target object lies on the same flat plane as the original observation point. This is simply a function of perspective, angular resolution, and diffraction. When you stand on the seashore, you can see a horizon line, which is basically the limit of your ability to resolve the water, because at a certain distance, the angle becomes too small and diffraction also plays a part. Above this waterline horizon will be everything that your eye can resolve above your eye level. Due to the resolving power of our eyes and even the most powerful telescopes, we could never possibly see across an ocean that is thousands of miles in distance. It is impossible due to the laws of physics, due to the physics of the angles, not to mention the additional limitations of diffraction. Again, it is a silly statement that we should be able to see across the ocean if the Earth were flat. However, the mistaken or disingenuous conclusion put forth by the so-called scientific community, in spite of these scientifically proven and accepted limitations on light propagation and resolution, is that the reason we can't see across the ocean is because we live on a spinning ball. Do you see the trick that they're playing? It is like telling little children that a guy on a sleigh in the North Pole brings them presents on Christmas. It sounds outlandish even to children, but they don't know any better and they don't actually see the parents leaving the presents, and they're given this story by the authorities, so they believe it. In our case, we have a knowledge gap, an unknown, because we can't see across the ocean, or we see ships and buildings disappear bottom first as they get further away, so we look to supposedly qualified authorities to study these issues for us and provide reliable explanations. For hundreds of years, the scientific authorities, now the space agencies, have both knowingly and unknowingly filled this gap with their own cleverly constructed explanations, and most people just accept their models without researching or using reason and logic. If people did think about the issues critically and logically, they would see that the authority is giving us beautifully wrapped presents and putting out cookies for their fictional Santa Claus. In this case, a spinning ball Earth.
This proof of the flat Earth comes from Grotto 1 from a frozen lake in Manitoba, Canada. I strongly encourage everyone to head over to his channel and subscribe to show your support, because he obviously went to a lot of effort for truth here. For this curvature test, Grotto 1 essentially set 4 lights at around 1 foot above the water and ice. He set up his camera at about 8 miles away from the furthest light and 5 miles away from the closest light. The lights were spread out at about a mile apart. At each location, Grotto 1 drilled down to the water just to confirm that he wasn't on some irregular ice formation, and to also ensure that his test was on a level surface. The furthest light from the camera was the red light at 8 miles from the camera. The blue light was at about 7 miles, the yellow was at 6 miles, and the orange light was the closest one at 5 miles away from the camera. You should definitely watch his video where he goes into much more detail, but here he is sitting in his truck at a distance of 8 miles from the red light. Notice that the lights are all on the same flat plane. There is no earth bulge and no physical globe horizon. Next, Grotto 1 lowered his camera to only 12 7/8 inches above the surface. At that small elevation, the globe horizon would have to be closer than 1.27 miles, and the furthest light, the red one, should have been 29 feet below the horizon. That's taking into account the 1 foot height of the light. Notice how the lights are all on the same flat plane. There's absolutely no supposed bulge here. And if there is no curvature on that frozen lake, then there is no Earth curvature anywhere. Look at the red light. That light should be 29 feet below the horizon. It's just amazing that they got away with this lie for so long. Finally, Grota 1 brought his camera down even lower to just 5 7/8 inches off of the ice. At this very low elevation, the red light would have to be a whopping 33 feet below the horizon. That's 34 feet minus the 1 foot height of the laser. Without question, the globe fails again. Furthermore, under the official model, the globe horizon would have to be closer than a mere 0.86 miles. There is no globe physical curve here, blocking your view. As Grota 1 demonstrated on this frozen lake, regardless of the conditions, the Earth is observably, testably, repeatedly, and measurably flat.
If Rock Lake is part of a sphere that has a radius of 3,959 miles, then Rock Lake should also have a horizon. What I mean by a horizon is a physical visual obstruction that keeps the viewer from seeing beyond it. Things beyond the horizon would then appear lower and or even hidden completely. In this test, I placed 4 lights on the lake spaced about 1 mile apart. The trip meter shows 1.2 miles, however with some wheel spin, the actual distance traveled is less.
We have been taught, contrary to all common sense and experience, that the seemingly motionless, flat earth beneath our feet is actually a massive, moving ball spinning through space at over 1,000 miles per hour, wobbling and tilting 23.5 degrees on its vertical axis while orbiting the sun at a blinding 67,000 miles per hour in concert with the entire solar system spiraling 500,000 miles per hour around the Milky Way and careening across the expanding universe away from the Big Bang at an incredible 670 million miles per hour, but that you feel and experience none of it.
They now have a Nikon P1000, but this P900 changed everything. Nikon made it easy and affordable to zoom in at 83 times magnification, record it, and then upload the video to YouTube and other video sharing sites. I thought flat earthers were maybe faking their tests, so I bought this camera so I could see it for myself. Flat earthers aren't faking anything. Unlike the globe model propagandists, you don't have to trust us. Flat Earth isn't word of mouth anymore. I can show you the actual video proof again and again and again.
I'm showing a road on my right hand side which can be used as a distance reference. However, my primary distance reference is a land location a little further along the lake. I watch for that location and then I stop the truck and I record it. The digital map that I use at home shows 7.95 miles from my start point to the area beside the land location. However, the start point and the stop point are approximated, so there is room for error. However, from this point, I continue on with the truck and I travel a short ways and to try and establish at least a full 8 miles.
We have been taught that a mysterious force called gravity, a magical magnetism responsible for keeping everything from falling or flying off the spinning ball Earth, is just strong enough to hold people, oceans, and the atmosphere tightly to the surface, but just weak enough to allow bugs and birds and planes to take off with ease.
You would not believe your eyes if 10 million fireflies lit up the world as I fell asleep. Fill the open air and leave teardrops everywhere. You'd think me rude, but I would just stand and stare. I'd like to make myself believe that planet Earth turns slowly. It's hard to say that I'd rather stay awake when I'm asleep, 'cause everything is never as it seems. 'Cause I get 1,000 hugs from 10,000 lightning bugs as they tried to teach me how to dance. A foxtrot above my head, a sock hop beneath my bed, a disco ball is just hanging by a thread. I'd like to make myself believe that planet Earth turns slow. such an insomniac? Please take me away from here. Why do I tire of counting sheep? Please take me away from here. When I'm far too tired to fall asleep. To 10 million fireflies, I'm weird 'cause I hate goodbyes. I got misty eyes as they said farewell, but I'll know where several are if my dreams get real bizarre, 'cause I saved a few and I keep them in a jar. I'd like to make myself believe that planet Earth turns slowly. It's hard to say that I'd rather stay awake when I'm asleep, 'cause everything is never as it seems. I'd like to make myself believe that planet Earth turns slowly. It's hard to say that I'd rather stay awake when I'm asleep, 'cause everything is never as it seems. I'd like to make myself believe that planet Earth turns slowly. It's hard to say that I'd rather stay awake when I'm asleep, because my dreams are bursting at the seams.
Yes, we were all lied to. Yes, they control our education. Yes, they control our media. Yes, they control our governments. Yes, they control all of our major institutions. But they still don't own your soul and your ability to think independently and to shake off the conformity and to break free from these mental controls. And that is how, with God's help, we can win.
Till next time.
You told me